Let's take a look at our first example. We have here Alex's Bakery that bakes two types of breads, bread A and bread B. One batch of bread A uses 5 pounds of oats and 3 pounds of flour. One batch of bread B uses 2 pounds of oats and 3 pounds of flour. And the company has 180 pounds of oats and 135 pounds of flour available. So the first thing we need to do is define our variables, as is step one. And I defined our variables as X being the number of batches of A and Y being the number of batches of B, because we don't know how many batches we need to make to be able to maximize profit or minimize cost. So step two then, we need to write our system of inequalities. My first inequalities that I'm going to have are y is greater than or equal to 0 and x is greater than or equal to 0, which we talked about in 3.3 already with word problems, because the number of batches cannot be negative, so therefore we keep it between that x and y axis in quadrant 1. The third inequality we have is going to be 5x plus 2y is less than or equal to 180. That's the combined amount of oats that we have between batch A and batch B. It has to be less than or equal to 180, because if you notice, it says 5 pounds of oats and 2 pounds of oats for A and for B. Our third one then is going to deal with the flour, which will be 3x plus 3y, because each of them uses 3 pounds of flour, but it has to be less than or equal to 135, because that's all the flour that we've got. So then, now that we've got these inequalities for our system, now we're going to move on to step 3. Step 3, we want to graph that. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and created the graph for you, and I've noted my points of the corners for the region, which are here, 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 and here. So we've got our corners of our region, which are going to be this quadrilateral, vertices at 0, 0, 36, 0, 30, 15, and 0, 45. So now that we have these corners of the region, we're going to take those corners and move on to step 5, which is going to create that equation we want to maximize. So some more information about the bakery. We want to maximize profits. So I'm going to highlight some key stuff here. We're going to maximize profits from bread sales. One batch of A yields a profit of 40. One batch of B yields a profit of 30. We want to find how many batches of each bread the bakery should make. So when we talk about maximizing our profits, we know that I'm going to let P equal the total amount of profit. We don't know what P is. And our equation, or our objective function, which is the equation, is P equals 40x plus 30y, because it's $40 per batch of A plus $30 per batch of B. So moving on to step 6. Step 6 then, we're going to plug in our corners into that equation. So here we've got 40x plus 30y, so if we take 40 times 0 plus 30 times 0, clearly that's going to make us a profit of 0, because if we don't make any batches of either, we can't make any money because we have nothing to sell. 0, 45, that would be 40 times 0 plus 30 times 45. And I know that 45 times 3 is 135 plus a 0, so 1,350, which is pretty good money, but let's try to see if we can make some more money. So then we'll take 30 times 30 and 15, so 40 times 30 plus 30 times 15. I know that 40 times 30 is 1,200, and 30 times 15 is 450. So we get 1,650. And then 36,0, which would be 40 times 36 plus 30 times 0. And I'm going to mark doing my, on the side here, 36 times 40. We have zeros, 24, 12, 14. So we get 1440. So now that we have our table filled in, we can go ahead to step 7 is to select the appropriate result. For minimizing, it would be the lowest value, maximizing the highest value. We said we wanted to maximize our profits, which would mean this one here, which means that we want to make 30 batches of bread A and 15 batches of bread B to be able to maximize the amount of profit. Now your homework, you don't have any you try problems for tonight, and you don't have a summary to write for today, you will tomorrow. For tonight, or your homework that you're going to have in class, you're going to be taking these values, the graphing inequalities to create a feasible region, and then using those corners and putting them into an objective function that's given to you to maximize or minimize your profit.